Welcome to today's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast, your channel for super easy, no-nonsense advice on how to declutter and organise your home. Please welcome your hosts, professional organisers Ingrid Jansen and Leslie Spelman.
Hello and welcome listeners to episode 145 of the Declutter Hub podcast. I'm Ingrid.
And I'm Leslie.
If you have clutter and want to sort it out, this is the show for you. Now, in today's episode, Leslie and I are talking about the do's and don'ts when shopping for clothes.
Now, before we get started, you can do whatever you like when you're shopping. I am not going to sit here and lay down the law about the do's and don'ts. But if you struggle and shopping is something that you really want to get a handle on, maybe some of our hints and tips will help you.
Yes, exactly, because it sounds a bit severe, doesn't it? The do's and don'ts when shopping for clothes. But exactly what Leslie says, if you feel like you're kind of always shopping that little bit too much, and if you feel that it's really holding you back in your decluttering journey because there's just too much stuff coming in all the time and not enough leaving, then we hope that this podcast with the do's and don'ts of shopping for clothes is really going to help you.
Yes. And so we like to end on a positive. So we're going to start with a negative. Yeah. So we're going to do the don'ts first, aren't we? And then we're going to do the do's afterwards.
Yeah, I know that feels better. Let's do the don'ts first and then the do's.
Yeah, because people might switch off and get very cross. Well, if we do the negative, I don't know really. Now I'm thinking, do we do the do's first? Do we do the don'ts first? We need to stick to our guns and we need to do the don'ts first. So we should call it the don'ts and do's of shopping. Does that roll off the tongue? Don'ts and do's of shopping. That's just made me laugh. I'm sorry. Sorry, I know that's not funny, is it really? But it's just tickled me today.
Yeah, that's well. Let's just get back to the task at hand. We need to get back to the task at hand. Come on. So, right, let's just do it. We've got 5 don'ts and 5 do's. So let's start with the don'ts then. And I think the first one really should be don't shop for clothes to make yourself feel better. That retail therapy, Leslie. Everyone succumbs to it. You're feeling a bit meh, and you think, oh, let me see if I can buy a new top. Cheer myself up, make me feel better. But it's often a mistake purchase then, isn't it?
Yeah, and that dopamine hit that we all get from retail therapy, it's very short-lived, isn't it? It's very momentary, and that's the thing. So if we're feeling genuinely rubbish and we know we're just buying something just because we want to make ourselves feel better, then that's never really a great reason, is it? So we need to beware of retail therapy and what comes along with that, don't we?
Yes, and you might now envisage yourself going to the shops actually with your shopping bags and going into seeing all the nice mannequins with all the clothes on. But it's the same for online shopping as well, isn't it? Kind of browsing through pages and pages of all these dresses or trousers or tops, and you think, oh, I like that and like that. And before you're clicking away for hours on end, and then you've got a basket full of stuff, and then it is so tempting to press that buy now button, isn't it, Leslie? Oh,
yeah. In the Declutter Hub, we talk all the time, don't we, about emotions and habits, and it's almost a process that you need to go through. So retail therapy can't be fixed overnight. You almost need to go through the rest of the decluttering and organizing process and simplification before that desire for retail therapy starts to wane as well. So it's almost at the end of your decluttering journey, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a hard habit to crack if you're so used to shopping all the time. And that's where the next don't comes in as well. Don't get kind of tempted by those bargains, that sale rack. If you're one who kind of loves to get a sale or something with money off or 30% off or whatever, and you're like, oh, every time I go into the shops, that's the first thing I want to have a little snoop at and see if I can find something amazing. But it's so tempting to go, oh, it's 30% off, or oh, it's half price, or it's 70%. And you don't even need it. But before you know it, it's in your basket and you're at the tills paying for it.
I think a good strategy is to really think about whether or not you would have paid full price for that. That's quite a good gauge sometimes, isn't it? I know, of course, some of us need to buy things that are on sale, and that's the only way that we can buy things. But just really think about whether or not you would have paid full price for something, and that will help you along your way.
Yeah. Now, the next don't is don't buy something you think, oh, that might come in one day, or oh, I'm going to have a party in the future where I'm going to wear this item when there's not even a party in your diary or you've got no special occasion. Don't go for the, oh yeah, that come in might come in handy.
Yeah, exactly. We talk a lot, don't we, about living for the moment, about having stuff in our lives that reflects the current you, your current lifestyle, and not your past lifestyle or your future lifestyle, because that's something that we all fall foul of. We keep things from the past and we keep things for the future just in case. And so really important when you're shopping is to think about today. Is that something that I'm going to put in my wardrobe tonight, open those doors and be able to wear tomorrow or within the next week or so? Really, really important. And that's why so many of us still have things hanging in our wardrobes with tags on.
Yes, Leslie. And another one that happens a lot is that we kind of end up buying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again because it's a safe item to buy because we know we can wear it, we feel good in it. And then before you know it, one day you open your wardrobe and you're like, why actually have I got 30 pairs of black trousers? Well, I wear the same 3, 4, or 5 all the time because it's a safe item. And then when you want that retail therapy, you think, oh, let me buy some black trousers because I'll wear those.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely what we like to call as our go-to items, and everybody's is different. You know, black trousers is one. For some people, it's leggings. For some people, it's a loose top. For some people, it's a little black dress. It very much depends, but you need to identify what your go-to item is and try and really evaluate how many of those have I got in my wardrobe and do I really need another one? Really important. So don't fall foul of buying the same thing repeatedly.
Yes. And then another big don't is don't take the hanger home. Leave the hanger in the shop, especially if you've got a one style hanger in your wardrobe and you've maybe switched to wooden hangers or velvet hangers or plastic hangers and you've got one type. Just leave the hangers in the shops because the first thing you're going to do is come home, take the clothes off the hanger and then throw the hanger away.
Yeah, it's a complete waste, isn't it? And so we really do. I think the shops are getting better at this as well, asking you whether or not you want the hanger. For so long, you used to get the hanger regardless of what you said, so it would be snuck into the bag before you even knew it. But yeah, do get used to not taking those hangers, particularly if you don't need them. And in our experience, there are very few homes that need more hangers. Aren't there, Ingrid? You just need a little bit less stuff. Most people have got more than enough hangers for the clothes that they've got.
Yes, definitely. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, hangers, velvet hangers, wooden hangers, I want to know more. Well, we have a course in our membership all about hanging clothes and how you need to do that in your wardrobes. And it even includes a hanger video. So if you're thinking to yourself, that interests me, I want to know more, find out more about our membership on members.declutterhub.com.
Yes, we love to talk about hanger, don't we? And we do have 2 hangers, don't we, in the products we love as well. So we have the velvet hangers that we absolutely love. If anybody went through our wardrobe challenge recently, then you know all about the velvet hanger and you may be enjoying your new velvet hanger stash. And so we have those in our products we love page. There's not many things that we advocate because we're not really big fans of shopping things, because we're not really big fans of buying things that you don't need. But velvet hangers and wooden hangers are definitely 2 things that we are big fans of, and they are in our products we love page.
Yeah. So if you want to know where they are, they're on declutterhub.com/product. So check them out. Now, Leslie, we've done the don'ts. Can we talk about the do's now, please?
Yeah, just a word of warning. I think there's a lot more don'ts, but that's a very small list of don'ts. But yeah, that's to cover the basics, haven't we? Now we can go on to what you do when you're shopping, which is what I prefer. Because as we all know, I do love my clothes. And so I prefer the do's than the don'ts, Ingrid.
Yeah. So what's your first do then, Leslie? Kick
Yeah,
us off then.
Yeah, I think it's really important that if you are going to go out shopping, this takes us back to the kind of retail therapy idea. If you if you think, yeah, I'm going to go out shopping, really think about what's going to go out of my wardrobe when I bring something home. So if you're already packed to the brim with clothes, you need to operate a one in, one out policy. So if something's going to come in principle, you need it, something needs to go out. Quite often, if people are overwhelmed with clutter, you might even go for a one in, two out policy to get things under control. So sometimes just that kind of, right, well, I've got to think about two things or one thing that need to leave my wardrobe to make place for this new thing that I'm going to buy is enough to put you off, isn't it? And so if you are going to buy something new, think about what it's going to replace.
Yes, that's a really good point, Leslie. And you can also see, what also might help is before you go shopping, just have a little rummage through your wardrobe. Find out, do you actually have hangers now spare that you can hang those new clothes on? If you can't move and you've got no spare hangers at all, how are you going to put that item in your cupboard? So that one in, one out rule, I think, works really, really well. The second do, and I think that's really important. I do this a lot, especially when I shop for my kids. I shop with a list because I go through their cupboards before I go shopping and I look, how many trousers have they got? How many shorts? How many t-shirts? Do they have a hoodie? Do they have enough socks? Is there still underwear? What's the current situation? And I then write a tiny little list to go, okay, so I need to shop for 2 trousers, 3 pairs of shorts, a pair of pajamas, a pack of socks. And I try to write down the sizes because they're growing so fast. You think, oh, what size are they now? What's the current size? And I kind of think, okay, I need to get the next size up. So that really helps me when I'm shopping. My son couldn't care less. I can basically buy anything for him. My daughter now goes with me, so she can immediately say, oh, I like that, or no, I don't fancy that, and we need to look for something else.
Yeah, shopping with a list sounds like you're going to buy a lot of stuff. I'm not going to lie. With a list, it's like a shopping list when you go food shopping. How many things have you got on your list?
Well, not that many, just some socks and some underwear and pajamas and t-shirts and then maybe a hoodie, or look for a raincoat or a new pair of, but I shop twice a year for the kids. One time in the spring.
That's a big haul, like 27 items in one shop. Yeah, Ingrid is not a shopper, just for the avoidance of doubt. She is not a shopper. I'm like, why are you buying all those things at the same time? But yeah, do you know what? Buying for kids is a little bit easier because you can almost mark out how many things that they need, because in this country, in the UK, our kids wear school uniform generally. And so we know that they don't need those day-to-day outfits apart from when they go out. And they're only wearing those 2 or 3 times a week. Obviously, they need a set amount of underwear and so on. So I think kids are a little bit easier to shop with a list for, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But even for myself, what I normally try to do is when I think, oh, the summer is coming or the winter is coming, I kind of look in my wardrobe first. What have I got? Because you always think, oh, yeah, I completely forgot I had that. Or, oh, yeah, that's a top I bought last year, but it's not in, you've forgotten you had it. So I have a little look and see if I go shopping, what I need to look for, because I am not a shopper. I actually plan when I go to the shops. I don't suddenly randomly wander into the town center and think, let me go shopping. For me, it doesn't work like that. But that works for me, and I'm not a shopper. But I'm hoping maybe my ideas make people think, and you think, oh, can you make a list? Yes, you can make a list. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, your ideas of shopping are not going to rub off on me. I will continue on my own path of shopping. Thank you very much, Ingrid. But I do like to declutter, so we're okay. I do shop, but I do declutter.
Yeah.
So, because I do like a change, I like a change, and I do like to look at things. I think, oh, that's nice. But I do think about a one in, one out policy. What can that replace? So I regularly declutter, so I never get overwhelmed with the amounts that I've got.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as well that, just talking about the fact that I like a change is an interesting one, because the one that we've got coming up next, which is buy well and make it last, a really, really good thing to think about. So we're at the hands of fast fashion at the moment, aren't we? There's an awful lot of things that are super, super cheap that are kind of almost designed to be a little bit throwaway, aren't they? To wear a couple of times and then get rid of. Perhaps not the things at our age, but certainly for younger kids. Fast fashion is a big thing. You know, you can go to shops, you can buy things for £5, £7, and then you really don't feel any great desire to wear them 30, 40, 50 times, do you? So it's an interesting one. And once you get a little bit older, I think it's important to maybe spend a little bit more money on your clothing and to try and make it last longer.
Yeah. And the interesting is, I think somebody posted something really interesting. And she said, if you buy something for £200, but then end up wearing it 50 times because it's really well made, it's a classic piece, it's only four pounds per wear. But if you buy something for £25 and end up wearing it only 3 times, you pay it's about £8 per wear. So the classic pieces, the things that last in the washing machine, that last with dry cleaning, that last when you wear it over and over and over again, in the end are always cheaper. It's just that the investment is larger.
Yeah, it's definitely useful, isn't it, to look at cost per wear. I mean, I definitely do that with, you know, quite often I'll buy a new pair of winter boots each season because I'm quite heavy on my feet and so my shoes don't last forever. And so, but I don't mind paying more for a winter pair of boots because chances are I'm going to have those boots on pretty much every day throughout the winter. And so the cost per wear then is very small on those. Whereas if I buy a pair of going out shoes that I love, you know, those kind of shoes that you fall in love with that you're going to wear on one night out, you might only wear those 5 or 10 times, you know. And so if you pay a lot of money for those, then it's, as you said, the cost per wear is going to be a lot more.
Yeah. And I think as well as it's not only about buying well and making items last, you need to think about what you're buying. Think about the outfit, not just the one item. If you buy a new top, where does it fit? How many do you have, a trouser or a skirt or long skirt or anything? Can you wear that top in different outfits? Can you maybe get a jacket to go over a top that you can wear on different tops? So you get more wear of it, especially if you got quite an outspoken taste and you use quite bold colors and bold patterns. You need to really think about, how can I make use of this item so I don't just wear it the one time? Because people then think, oh, that's her in that top again. How can you make sure that it fits into the clothes you already have?
Yeah, it's really important, isn't it, to think about what is this actually going to go with? Because we do, of course, we fall foul of things being, oh, that's absolutely gorgeous, I'd really like that top, but not really think through how that's going to fit into your current lifestyle and current wardrobe, really. So that's super important as well. So have we got any more do's? Are we allowed to do any more do's?
Yeah, I think I've got one more, Leslie. If you can, try on in the shops. If you're going shopping for clothes, make sure if the changing rooms are open, try the clothes on, because then immediately you can see, do I like the material? Does it sit properly on me? Is it the right size? Do I need a size smaller? Do I need a size bigger? Is it itchy or does it feel really comfortable? Is the neckline really low and does it gape quite a lot? Do I like the arms? All of those things that you can already then try on in the shop so you have better success in the purchases you make.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always possible or practical, is it, to try on sometimes, but I think it's useful. And the same thing, a lot of us now buy clothes then online. And so equally, what tends to happen, and we see this with clients, don't we, Ingrid? We see returns sitting there for months on end and going past the point that they can be returned. And so this is the reason why we talk about this, because experience shows us that you have to be really on top of returns. And if you tend to be a more disorganized than organized person, that's the kind of thing that goes by the wayside. And that's when you make mistakes. That's when you spend money that you don't need to. You forget about returning them. Quite often we see parcels that are not even being opened because people have forgotten what's inside them and they get buried under other clutter. And then 6 months later, they come up for air and it's too late to return them. So it's really, really important to try things on as soon as you can after you buy them, or ideally in the shop or when they appear through the post, and then to have a very robust returns policy to make sure that it's possible for you to go back to that shop to return them, or to return them straight away online, that process is simple, it's not going to cost you a lot of money, you know, because it is a real problem, isn't it, Ingrid, in the clutter that we see?
Yeah, Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, over the years, and I think the more and more we've become used to online shopping, the bigger this problem has gotten, because it can be really overwhelming when suddenly this whole box of clothes shows up, and it's like, oh, and now I need to try them on, and then you got a busy couple of days ahead of you, and then you forget about it. You think, I'll get around to it, I get around to it, I get around to it, and then by the moment you get around to it, it's like, oh, the 28 days have already gone, or you've lost the form that you need to fill in to send the stuff back, or the box is squashed, or the return envelope has disappeared. And then it gets really tedious to do these kinds of jobs. So really make sure that when you shop online, if it arrives, schedule time in your diary and go, right, I'm going to try these clothes on, and I'm going to take action on the things that I no longer want.
Yeah, really, really important. In fact, potentially one of the most important things within this whole podcast. Get on top of your returns, because that's one of the biggest clutter problems that we see.
Yeah. And not only with clothes, Leslie, also with other bits and bobs around the house.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Clothes definitely the most, I think. Shoes, clothes, all of those kinds of things.
Definitely.
Well, listeners, these were our 5 do's and don'ts.
Yeah, I like don'ts and do's. Don'ts and do's.
Oh, yes, these were the 5 don'ts and do's of shopping for clothes. So we hope this was helpful and that you've enjoyed listening and are inspired to take action, because that's what we are all about here at the Declutter Hub. We appreciate you listening to us. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, do share it with other people. The sharing buttons are on our show notes page on our website. So do tell other people about our podcast. If you want more handy tips of Leslie and I, come and join us in our Facebook group, the Declutter Hub community. We have a great time in there and such a supportive and kind group of people. We are also on Instagram. We've got a Facebook page and a YouTube channel if you want to be inspired even more. Now, if you don't want to miss our next podcast, subscribe to the Declutter Hub podcast and it will pop into your notifications each Friday. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast. Check out declutterhub.com for more inspiration, and don't forget to tune in next week.